Thank you, Tia. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes to see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Well, good morning, folks. Once again, how many times can we say good morning, right? We can sing it, good morning, it's a beautiful way we can say it, but yeah, truly good morning. My name is B.A. Huffman, and I am sort of new around here, and I'll introduce myself because some of you are also new around here. But I have visited this church several times in the last year, but now I'm serving as an interim position where I'm the ministry coordinator, and I will be doing the talks over here for the next 3 months, 4 months, 4.5 months, and providing music. So welcome to you, as I have felt welcomed by the wonderful people of this congregation. I know a lot of us are out of town, so I'm saying hello to you on the camera. Some of you are watching on Zoom today live, and some of you are going to be watching on YouTube a little bit later. So hello to you, and as T was saying earlier, we are always in the right and perfect place. Whether you are sitting right here in this room or you're watching us later, that is also the perfect place too. I need to stagger the seating. There you guys are. I was like, there's someone missing sitting right behind Jerry, and it's Ed there. I was like, where'd you go? So, yeah, that last song was There Is Only Love, written by Michael Gott, and Karen Drucker also wrote a verse to that, which I didn't sing. I had chosen for the Daily Word. You know, the Daily Word, for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a magazine that comes out, and it's 2 months worth of daily sayings, all right? And I usually take a picture of one of these and send it to my mother every day, and she loves that. It's my way of connecting in with her. And oftentimes we read the Sunday morning Daily Word from here. You can subscribe to this on your own. We have them back there too for purchase. What I like to do is, since we're usually only meeting here 1 day a week, I like to see if there's another daily word that happened in the week that also might apply to us. It doesn't just have to be only Sundays, because if you want Sundays, you can also pick this up and you'll go read it yourself too. Or you might have already read it. But sometimes there's one that really applies more to maybe the topic or what I want to speak about or what's happening in the world or something like that. And so this one, for me, the one that really spoke to me the most was from Wednesdays. Can we go back 3 slides? Boom, 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 3, 2, 1. And there we go, and there we go, and one more. There we go. This was it, right? Faith. I stand fast in faith and expect the best. Which, with me one time, please. I stand fast in faith and yes, I expect the best. I open my eyes, greet the new day. I take a deep breath, breathe out and pray, just to give thanks. Then look in the mirror, and there's God looking back at me. A smile lights up my face, and I know that I am blessed, all because I expect the best. Oh, 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 right where I am. I know I'm enough just as I am, and all that I want, all I desire is now coming true for me. The universe conspires to ensure my happiness, all because I expect the best. I expect the best from every passing moment, every single day. I'm loving my life, I'm living my dreams, I'm losing my fear, I'm spreading my wings and feeling alive, anticipating what the future holds for me. And I can't wait to see what is gonna happen next, all because I expect the best. Oh, I expect the best from every waking moment, every single day. I'm loving my life, I'm living my dreams, I'm losing my fear, I'm spreading my wings, I'm feeling alive, and what the future holds for me. And I can't wait to see what is gonna happen next, all because I expect, and you can too. I expect the best. Oh, I expect the best. Oh, you can too. Expect the best. All right. That song, guess what that's called, right? Expect the Best. Yeah, written by Richard McDeesey, Reverend Richard McDeesey now, a longtime Unity musician and now minister. And also Harold Payne contributed to that song as well. So there we go. Expect the best, because if we don't, if we live in a place of fear or worry, that's not going to really do us much good, is it? So I want to talk today, I'm going to go to my other notes here. You know, the thing about, which I'm still figuring this thing out, is if I choose a talk topic 2 weeks ago, and then I change my mind, and I want to talk about expect the best, I'm like, well, no, I already told everyone, and the whole newspaper knows, and everyone on the website knows that I'm supposed to be talking about what's in a name. That's the name of my talk today. And if you happen to have gone to our website, I'm still figuring out the website and how we're going to update that. So there's even a different topic on our website that was sort of a place filler. So who knows what I'm talking about? I know what I'm talking about today, and that is what's in a name. That is the talk topic for today. And so what I had written a few thoughts down here. You know, names are labels, right? They are things that we call things, right? It's a label of a person or a concept, a thought, or even a talk title. And they are words that came from a combination of letters, right? And names have changed based on what kind of language we have. Like, so does anyone here speak another language, even remotely, a little bit, other than English? Do I have any? Yes, what language?
2 years of French, 1 year of Spanish.
Okay, and a little German. So you can help me out with a few of these things. I'm going to start with you, all right? So that thing that rivers have, rivers have it, and oceans have it, and rain is made of it. What is it called in English? Water. Yes. Oh, great. Yes, we'll grab that for a second. Just only
Water.
because we can hear you, but the people on the Zoom can't. Okay. So we'll use that for a second, if you don't mind. So water, right? And in Spanish, you said
Agua.
Agua.
Agua más fina.
Agua, right? Let's put that.
Agua.
Agua. Good. And you mentioned French. What's water in French?
Oh, God.
You just said it. What's the word you said before God?
Oh?
Boom! Oh, that is the French word for water.
Really?
So
I
yes,
didn't know
it
that.
is. It's spelled
Oh,
E-A-U.
are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. So you answered it without even knowing.
God.
Oh, God. Yes, yeah. Oh, right. Who else? Who else has another language other than French or Spanish? Anyone? Oh, what do you have? American Sign Language. Okay, well, we can't put that on a microphone, but can you show us? We'll turn around and look.
Let me turn the camera.
Oh, I can't do that with my hands. It's this? Yeah, you know, I'm a pianist and I can do all kinds of things with my fingers, but I can't make a number 3 or a W without putting my. But that's the sign for water. A W. Oh, toward your mouth for water. Good, good, good. Any others? Any other languages people want to talk about that they know the word for water? I've got a few for you. All right. So in German, das Wasser. Das Wasser, right? In Japanese, mizu. Mizu. In Mandarin Chinese, shui. Shui. In Korean, mool. Mool. How's that for water? Mool. You want a glass of mool? I don't know. Lakota Native tribes, right? Lakota. Didn't you speak to me, Anne Marie, about Lakota? Okay. Yes. Ni. Ni. That is the word for water. M-N-I is how we would spell it with our letters, but ni. They wouldn't have used those letters initially, right? In the Maori people in New Zealand, the natives of New Zealand, phi. Phi. That is the word for water. And here's an interesting one, Luo, the language Luo, which is the language in Kenya and Tanzania. The word for water is, wait for it, pee. Yeah. So do you want a glass of pee? No, maybe not, right? Okay. So my point here is that we've got this one thing that everyone in the world uses, right? Needs, our bodies are made up of it. The universe, the earth is made up of how much percentage of pee, water. And all of these different people are using this different word, this different sound out of their mouths, or a symbol to emphasize it, to communicate what this one word is, right? So I wanted just to hold that into our minds as I keep moving on. The other thing I want to talk about with words and names is if we stay within English, and that's our first language, it is for me, and most of us, I think, here. If you've ever had the chance to travel to another English-speaking country, like England, like Great Britain, like Australia, or like New Zealand. I spent the year of 2019 in New Zealand and Australia and Singapore. And boy, I had a really interesting time, not only deciphering accents, but also just different words and different phrases that they would use. I want to share with you a few things just from British English to American that you may or may not have heard of. But if you've got some groceries and you're loading them into the back of your car, here we're going to put them in the trunk of the car, right? The trunk of the car. If you are in Great Britain, do you know where you put them in your car in the back? In the boot. Yeah. So you put them in the boot. Imagine if someone said here, like, oh, you said to the grocery guy, he's like bringing out your stuff, and you're like, just put it in the boot. He's like, what does that mean? The boot, which boot? Another one, it's dark, the power's gone out, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you want to grab the flashlight to turn it on. But if you are over in London, you're going to grab the torch. The torch. Imagine grabbing the torch. Honey, get with the torch, please. That's like he's going to come out with this big giant, like a caveman thing out of the man cave with the torch. Here's a really good one. If I wanted to have biscuits and gravy in the South, right? Well, if you were in London or Manchester or something like that, and you said biscuits and gravy, they're going to look at you kind of funny because a biscuit there is a cookie. And of course, if you were here and you're like, I'd like some biscuits and milk, please. Like, ew, who wants milk with their biscuits? So you get the idea. Even within our own language, we have different words. This one gets, here's a couple kind of funny ones and almost off color, but we're all okay here. But one of them is, are you familiar with the fast food restaurant Wendy's? All right, and they have their extra value meals, and they have biggie size, biggie fries and biggie burgers and biggie this. It means, it's a larger size, right? Well, in Great Britain, a biggie, it's child's poop. All right, so that wouldn't go over so well if you want biggie fries here. Like, just imagine some of these things. And let's talk about in South Carolina, there's a very popular social dance called shagging. Okay, well, you got that right away. So do we know what goes on if you're in London? And so, there's a story that goes, that this young South Carolinian woman was getting married, and she said to her British fiance that for their wedding, she really wanted to take shagging lessons. Well, so shagging, of course, is a dance in South Carolina, but in London it means something very different. It means something you would do on your wedding night. And so we weren't really sure why she wanted shagging lessons, right? So the point being, lots of different words, even with our own language, right? And then how about where you grew up? What about different ways that we say things that are specific to the neighborhood or the town you grew up? I grew up in a little tiny coal mining town. I was telling someone a little earlier today about this. Yes, I was telling you. I grew up in a little coal mining town near Pittsburgh, actually, and Judith, you lived in Pittsburgh for quite some years. My parents would say, when they wanted me to clean up my room a little bit, like just, some people say pick up your room. My parents would say, red up your room. Go red up your room. I get to college, and I'm talking to my college roommate, and I said, could you just red up this place a little bit? It's just a mess. And he's looking at me saying, what do you mean red up? What does that mean? And I thought, doesn't everyone know what that means? But no, that was very specific to where I grew up. And my college roommate was from Philadelphia on the other side of the state, 6 hours away, but they don't say red up your room there. I kind of did some research. I think it's short for ready up your room. It's just sort of a short way of saying make it tidy and presentable. Do you have any of those? Does anyone have something that you said growing up, but you got somewhere and people were like, what are you saying? Anyone?
I don't know. Embedded in the West Coast, grew up in
Mm-hmm.
Southern Cal.
Mm-hmm. You grew up.
Valley boy, outside of Malibu and all that.
Right.
Southern Hills, and when I moved to Oregon, I was using all kinds of phrases that
From Southern
and,
California phrases that didn't translate to
and I had no idea that I was speaking
no idea you were speaking a different language to some of these people, right? And that's another thing that takes me right in. You said you were speaking 1960s phrases, and that's another concept of what about phrases that worked for a certain generation, that when we were children, and we remember our grandparents saying them, or we even used them ourselves, and then we get to a time nowadays, here we are in 2022, is that the year? I missed a couple somewhere in there, and we realize, well, I haven't heard that word in 40 years, or I'm using that word and everyone's looking at me strangely. Do I have any of those words? Anyone? Yes? What do you have, Ramona? Okay, so I'm going to repeat that just because I might have a mic. You said that you had, your mother used to say, hard as a brick bat, right? And your ex-husband, I'm sorry, your late husband said he's never heard of a, but you looked it up and it was hard as a brick bat. Well, do you want to tell? Do you know what it was? Do you remember? You don't remember. That's okay. We're all going to look it up. Someone's looking it up right now online. They're going, Right. Of course. Yep. Yep. Who else? Glenn, did you have something? Let's grab the mic. You have a mic for him. Just it helps. And go ahead and put it right toward. There you go. Right.
Zorch, boss, cool, groovy.
Zorch.
Zorch, that's what I said when I was a kid, but that came from the Beatniks, I think, and I heard it from an older person.
What does it mean? What does Zorch mean?
Cool, groovy, awesome.
Zorch.
Zorch, man. Yeah. No.
Wow. Okay. Am I the only one who's never heard of Zorch? Okay, you haven't either. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I wrote a couple of these down, like nifty, groovy, cool, man, those kinds of things. How about my grandmother used to say this phrase. She used to say, it's pretty near 3 mile. Pretty near. Pretty near. Like if my nephew were watching right now, he'd be like, pretty near, what's that? And it means pretty near, pretty close to 3 miles from here. My grandmother would say, pretty near 3 mile. She wouldn't even put the S, she'd just put 3 mile. That would be, and there are other words that, here's an interesting word that I think of, and it certainly applies in my life. But you know, back in the 1950s, if everyone was happy and we're having a gay old time, well, what happens when you say gay nowadays, right? It's a whole different thing. It's a lifestyle. It's a group of people. It's not, doesn't mean just happy anymore. There are all kinds of words that meant one thing at some point and mean something different now. So you're getting my theme here. Sometimes it's about a language that's different, whether it's pee or water. Sometimes it's about English versus English in different countries. Sometimes it's about generations, right? How it can change in that way. And then also certain words and names have emotional triggers for us as well, right? So here are a couple words. Now, I encourage you and invite you to, if you have an emotional attachment or a trigger by one of these words, let's try not to express it in the room, because someone in the room might have an opposite. And I don't say any of these words to make anyone uncomfortable or anything like that. I just want you to internally think of how some of these words make you feel. All right? So we've got vacation. What's the first thing, just in your mind, vacation? Some of you might be thinking of a beach, and some of you might be thinking of Rome or some other thing. So vacation has different thoughts, right? Different thoughts. Driving. The word is driving. How do I feel about driving? I know for me personally, I love driving. I know people who hate it. It's very stressful for them. So the word driving can bring it. Camping. We're not to the hard words yet, by the way. Camping is something that I really love. My best friend, Brian, he thinks of spiders and snakes and cold weather and stuff like that. So camping is a very, very negative word for him. How about cooking? How about computer? Computer can be very intimidating for some people, right? Or for others. How about children? Children can be a wonderful thing. Children can also drive someone crazy. You know, Mom, are you listening? All right. She will tomorrow, probably. How about this one? Thanksgiving dinner with extended family. How that can be a wonderful thing, but also for others, you know, when you say, how was your Thanksgiving? And you talk to people, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I had to spend it with my family. And you see it written all over their face, right? You know exactly what that meant for them. How about this? Rain. Rain. I mean, if you're living in a drought, rain can be a very good thing. If you are living in parts that are having massive flooding right now, the idea of rain is a very, very different thing, right? We're getting a little tougher. Hot. Heat. How about that? How about exercise? That's another one. Exercise. Does that something you love to do, or is that something that it just feels like I don't want to do it? It's a pain in the butt. How about president? President. There's one, right? That might depend on your political affiliation. It might depend on who is president at the current time, or it might depend on who's president of your organization and not even the country, or what country you live in. President can have a lot of different triggers as well. I bring these up because there are words in our spiritual development. There are words in churches. There are names in spirituality and religion that can be very inspiring to us, and there are words and that can also be triggers for other people. And so I bring these things up so to bring a little awareness to ourselves about words and names that we have triggers by, and how we can be sensitive to people who may or may not like certain words. There are, and different denominations obviously use different words. Some people, I remember working in a Presbyterian church 25 or more years ago. I don't know what year it was, maybe close to 30 years now. And I remember at that time they had changed the entire hymnal to make language inclusive, so that we weren't referring to God as always he, him, he, him, he, him. Now this was a Presbyterian church 30 years ago. You know, we hear that kind of language being more inclusive in Unity and CSL and New Thought churches, but actually the Methodists and Presbyterians, these more traditional Protestant churches, were also making those changes. It's not to say that if your idea, your concept of God is has a masculine pronoun attached to it, if it's he or him to you, this is not to say that that is not correct. That is not the message. The message is that other people also have different concepts of that same entity, that same being, just like there are different words for the word water, right? Different concepts for the same concept, different words. So it's just a thing to be aware of as we walk on our journey. Other words that can be we can look at, or what's the word Lord for some of us? When we say the word Lord, a lot of us have heard the word Lord referring to Jesus, right? Lord Jesus, especially if we grew up in any kind of traditional churches that weren't necessarily Unity or New Thought. Lord is a master, right? That's like a landlord, or way back in early English, Lord had a different concept to it. What does that mean now when we say that? Other words that are in our worship are worship. What does the word worship indicate? Does it mean elevate and revere? Who are we worshiping? Are we worshiping a person, God, or, so again, just be thinking about some of these words, because we're going to address these over the next several months that I'm here. We're going to see how we can be even more inclusive with our language. And inclusive always includes the way it is now, the way it has been, in addition to the way we move forward. It's never to get rid of the old way. It's to include new ways in with the old. So keep that in mind as we keep moving forward. Another word, Buddha. What do you think when you hear the word Buddha? Do you see a little statue, made from Avon that we had growing up in my house in Blairsville, Pennsylvania, of this fat, shirtless Buddha sitting there smiling? Or is Buddha to you a symbol of peace and a comforting, as I wrote down, a comforting source of peace and a way to guide you into meditation? Or is Buddha, some heathen that's anti-Christian? Like, there are different ways that people might think of that word, right? The one word that to me always, the concept and the word always are the same, is the word and the concept of love. Love. I don't know of any, I can't even think of a way that we would think of the word love and think bad things about it. And it is the concept that God is love. It's written right here, right? God is love. Isn't that interesting that we don't, even the word God sometimes triggers me, because the word God, I was brought up to think was this old white man with white hair that was going to tell me, that was going to judge me, and that was going to do all these things. So when I hear the word God, I just get this little And for me, the way that it works for me is, God to me is an acronym, G-O-D. It stands for goodness, order, and divinity. If I substitute those three words, goodness, order, and divinity, for any time I see the word God, it means exactly the same thing as the people meant to say when they were saying the word God. And then that's how I get myself unstuck from that little thing. Anyway, back to God is love. Goodness, order, and divinity. It's love, right? The word love. I need a volunteer. I need two volunteers. I'm going to go a little traditional. I need a male and a female volunteer. A little audience participation. If you don't volunteer, I will volunteer you. Okay. Are you guys? Anne-Marie, are you volunteering? It's Rick, is it? No, he's. Okay, Anne-Marie, come on up here. Good. And I need a guy. Where? Glenn, come on up. All right, bring your reading glasses. This is your script. This is you. All right, read through it real quick. Here's your script. And you stay right down here. You should be right there. You should be up here. You'll know why in a minute. Your script. This is going to be you, and you, and you. All right. I present to you now our mini little play, Romeo and Juliet. First, we have Juliet up on her balcony. she doesn't even know that she's being listened to by a secret and furtive and hidden Romeo who's down here listening and not even seen or heard. And all of a sudden we hear Juliet, and she says,
"Oh my, oh dear me."
Romeo to himself,
She's speaking. Oh, let her speak again. After all, she looks as glorious above me as an angel in heaven sailing through the lazy clouds.
To herself, "Oh Romeo, Romeo, why are you named Romeo? Disown your family and refuse your name. Or if you will not, then swear that you love me, and I'll stop being a Capulet."
Romeo to himself says,
Shall I wait for her to say more, or shall I answer her now?
I still don't see him or hear him yet. "It's only your name which is my enemy. You are who you are, even if your name weren't Montague." What is a Montague? It is only a name, not a hand or a foot, nor an arm, nor a face, nor any other part of the body. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? A rose would smell just as sweet if we called it by another name. If he had a different name besides Romeo, he would be just as perfect as he is with that name now. Romeo, deny your name, and in return, take all of me.
I'll take you at your word. From now on, I won't be Romeo. Just call me Love. And I'll rebaptize myself with a different name.
the end. The end. Thank you, volunteers. Thank you, Romeo and Juliet. Yes, we'll just put those right down here on the cloth, if you don't mind, and not bumping into each other. Yes, so, thank you, Glenn and Anne-Marie. Romeo and Juliet, what does he say here at the end? Romeo says, I'll take your word. From now on, I won't be Romeo. Just call me Love, and I will rebaptize myself with another name, right? The idea here, and it's just a little fun that I wanted to bring in to you, in that if we are identifying by a certain name, a certain attitude, a certain belief system, we're always going to be individualized. Call me but Love, and I will rebaptize myself and go by another name. All I need to be let me tell you during my week how many times that my personality crept into certain things, right? Anyone else? Did you have a personality moment? Okay, if you didn't, please see me afterwards and give me your tip to life, all right? But during the week, I have personality moments. And when I go into those personality moments, if I remember, and Tia, you gave me a beautiful example of this yesterday, actually, and thank you for that, but just in our talk yesterday. But when I remember to go back to love, when I remember to go back to unity principles, when I remember to go back to God is love, goodness, order, and divinity, and I get myself out of my personality and back to love, no matter what it's called, right? No matter what the name is, then I know I can get through my week a lot better. Then I know that I can show up as the highest version of myself. All right, I'm going to tie this in with the song, but I can't do it without a swig of my water here. Here's another name that some of you, it will trigger something for you. Just name a name of a person and of a singer. Daniel Nahmod. If you know Daniel Nahmod, yeah, look I've got someone clapping here, and nodding their heads. Great singer of New Thought music, and I'm going to share, the reason I bring his name is because I'm going to share a song of his right now. And this goes along with our theme. The Unity First principle says God is all there is, right? God is all there is and is present everywhere, right? There is one power, one presence. And this is the force of love and wisdom that underlies all existence, right? There is one power, one presence. There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. one power indescribable, and yet we speak of it with every word we say. Mysterious until you know the truth. It's the power of the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings, or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous if we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. We'll remember when we open up to see that such differences were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's the everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby. It's the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon for its love that's most deep. It's one power. All it is one power. It is one power. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, folks. One power. All it is, no matter what we call it. Thank you for this morning, for sharing this moment with me. I'm going to bring us back around to. You have a comment. You do.
When I was listening,
Yeah.
you talked about words, metaphors.
Mm.
There's all metaphors.
Yes.
La chemise, a shirt. Right?
La chemise, your shirt.
You know that Sanskrit, they say sat nam, and I believe it means I am. What do you identify with? Do I attract? Identify with God, with love?
Satnam, I am.
Choose you have free will. Choose who you are.
Choose who you are. Satnam. Thank you for that. Wonderful. Thank you.